You have never seen a rainbow, not really. What you see when you look at a rainbow is three color channels, red, green, blue, blended into what your brain interprets as a spectrum. But a rainbow contains millions of distinct wavelengths of light. You are seeing maybe 100 of them. Butterflies see in ultraviolet. Bees navigate by colors that have no name in any human language. Dogs live in a world of yellows and blues with no red and no green. Every single creature on Earth is experiencing a completely different visual reality from the one you are experiencing right now, and none of them knows the others exist. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. We have known this for decades. Scientists have mapped the visual systems of hundreds of species. They know exactly which wavelengths each animal can detect. They can measure the color receptors in a mantis shrimp's eye with laboratory precision. What they cannot do, what no human being has ever been able to do, is actually experience what those animals see. We can describe it. We can model it. We can build cameras that detect ultraviolet and render it in colors we can process. But the actual lived experience of seeing 16 color channels instead of 3 is something no human brain has ever had access to. And that gap between knowing something exists and being completely unable to experience it is one of the strangest facts about what it means to be human. Let's start with how your eyes actually work. And because most people have a vague sense that they see colors, but very few understand the machinery behind it. Inside the back of your eye is a layer of cells called the retina. Packed into the retina are two types of light-sensitive cells, rods and cones. Rods handle low-light vision. They are extraordinarily sensitive, but they cannot distinguish color. This is why the world loses its color at night. You are switching from cone vision to rod vision, and rods only report light and dark. Cones are where color happens, and humans have three types of them. One type is most sensitive to long wavelengths, what we perceive as red. One is most sensitive to medium wavelengths, green. One is most sensitive to short wavelengths, blue. Every color you have ever seen in your entire life, every shade of every painting, every sunset, every face, is your brain's interpretation of signals coming from those three cone types blended together. 3. That is the entire color vocabulary your visual system was built with. And for most of human history, nobody questioned it. Color was color. The sky was blue, grass was green, a rose was red. The idea that other creatures might be perceiving something fundamentally different, something you could not even imagine, simply wasn't part of the picture. Then scientists started looking more carefully, and what they found changed everything. In 1979, a zoologist named Thomas Cronin began studying the eyes of mantis shrimp. He was expecting to find something similar to what other crustaceans had. What he found instead stopped him completely. Mantis shrimp have 16 types of color receptors, not 3, 16. For context, a dog has 2. Most fish have 4. Butterflies have 5. Birds have 4, plus an additional ultraviolet channel that lets them see patterns on feathers that are completely invisible to human eyes. And the mantis shrimp sits at the extreme end of the spectrum with a visual system so complex that scientists are still working out exactly how it processes all that information. Here's what that means in practice. When you and a mantis shrimp look at the same coral reef, you are not seeing the same reef. You are seeing a simplified 3-channel version of it. The mantis shrimp is seeing something you have no framework to even imagine. Colors that have never had a name. Distinctions between wavelengths that your brain would register as identical. A visual world so rich and layered that our best attempt to model it on a screen would still be a pale approximation. You are not seeing what is there. You are seeing what evolution decided you needed to see. Those are not the same thing, but it gets stranger. Bees navigate by ultraviolet light. Their eyes can detect wavelengths that are completely invisible to you, shorter than violet. Outside the range your cones can register at all. And flowers evolved to exploit this. Many flowers that look plain and uniform to human eyes are covered in ultraviolet patterns. Runway lights painted across petals in colors that have never had a name in any human language because no human has ever seen them. You have walked past thousands of these flowers. You have never seen what they actually look like, and this has been true your entire life. Every flower you have ever called beautiful was hiding something from you. The pattern was always there. Your eyes simply weren't built to receive it. Birds take this further. Many species can not only see ultraviolet, but can also detect the polarization of light, the orientation of light waves as they travel through the atmosphere. This gives them a form of navigation that has no human equivalent. They can look at the sky and read it like a map. Not metaphorically, literally. The sky contains information that is invisible to you but completely legible to them. And then there are the animals that don't use light at all. Pit vipers and some species of snake have heat-sensing organs that detect infrared radiation, essentially seeing the world as a heat map. Every warm-blooded creature in their environment glows. Walls are cold, air is cold, but you, walking through their territory, are a lit beacon in an otherwise dark landscape. They are not seeing you the way you see them. They are seeing your heat signature, a completely different kind of information processed by a completely different kind of system, painting a completely different picture of the same room. Now here's where it gets personal. In 1948, a Dutch scientist named H.L. de Vries discovered something unusual in some women's eyes. He found that a small percentage of women carry a genetic mutation that gives them a fourth type of cone cell, not 3 color channels, 4. Sitting between the standard red and green receptors, this fourth cone theoretically allows its carrier to distinguish colors that look completely identical to everyone else. Scientists called this condition tetrachromacy, and for decades it remained theoretical. Nobody could confirm whether these women were actually using their fourth cone or whether it was simply present without functioning. Then in 2010, neuroscientist Gabriele Jordan at Newcastle University found her. After searching for 20 years, she identified a woman in northern England, a doctor who had been living her entire life with functional tetrachromacy without ever knowing it. She had simply assumed that everyone saw the world the way she did, the colors she could distinguish that nobody else could. She had no idea they were invisible to the people around her. She had no language for the difference because the difference had never been named. Jordan estimates that as many as 12% of women carry the gene for a fourth cone. How many of them are functional tetrachromats, actually using that fourth channel, is still unknown, but the implication is remarkable. Right now, walking around in the same world as you, there may be people seeing colors you cannot see, not metaphorically, not poetically, literally seeing wavelengths of light that your visual system registers as nothing at all. Think about what that means. Two people look at the same painting. To you, two areas look identical in color. To them, they are clearly obviously different. The way red and green are different to you. There is no argument to be had. There is no way to bridge the gap through description. The experience simply does not translate. This is not a poetic idea. This is a measurable, documented, scientific fact. Two people, same room, same object, completely different realities, and neither one wrong. Neither one more real than the other. Just different windows into the same world. One of them wider, one of them narrower, and no way to know from inside either one which is which. And if that gap exists between two human beings standing in the same room, imagine the distance between you and a mantis shrimp. So now ask the real question. What if the answer to that gap had been different? What if, somewhere in our evolutionary history, humans had developed not 3 color channels but 16? What if our visual cortex had evolved to process the full spectrum, ultraviolet, infrared, polarized light, every wavelength that currently passes through us unseen? The first answer seems obvious. We would see more. The world would be richer. Colors that currently have no name would have names. Art would be unrecognizable. Architecture would be built around visual information we currently cannot perceive. The natural world, flowers, feathers, the surface of water, the night sky, would be transformed beyond anything we can currently imagine from inside our 3-channel experience. But walk it back further. Vision is not just about seeing, it is about processing. The human brain already devotes more resources to visual processing than to any other sense. Roughly 30% of your cortex, nearly a third of your entire brain, is dedicated to handling the information that comes through your eyes, and that is for 3 color channels. 16 channels would not just require more processing power, it would require a fundamentally different brain. A brain so focused on visual processing that other capacities, language, abstract reasoning, long-term planning, might have developed more slowly or differently, or not at all. The same evolutionary pressures that gave mantis shrimp 16 color channels also gave them a brain built almost entirely around processing that information. They are extraordinarily good at seeing. They are not building civilizations. There is a reason human vision evolved the way it did. 3 channels was enough. Enough to identify ripe fruit from unripe. Enough to read the emotional state of another human face. Enough to track movement in a landscape. Evolution does not build what it does not need. And what it needed from us was not a perfect visual system. It needed a brain that could think, plan, communicate, and cooperate across time in ways no other animal had ever managed before. We traded the mantis shrimp's 16 colors for language. We traded ultraviolet vision for the ability to imagine things that don't exist yet. We traded a perfect map of the magnetic field for the capacity to build compasses and ships and GPS systems that can tell us exactly where we are on a planet we mapped ourselves. The visual world we cannot see. We built tools to see it for us. Cameras that detect infrared, sensors that map ultraviolet, instruments that measure polarized light and render it in colors we can understand. No other animal has done this. No mantis shrimp has ever built a device to see what a human sees. We did not evolve to see the whole spectrum. We evolved to imagine it and then build our way toward it. Here's what stays with me about all of this. Right now, as you watch this, there is ultraviolet light passing through the room you are sitting in. There are infrared signatures, heat maps of every object, every wall, every living thing nearby. There are polarized light patterns in the sky above you that birds are reading like text. There are colors on the flowers outside your window that no human being has ever seen with their own eyes. None of it is hidden. None of it is far away. It is all here, right now, in the same space you are occupying. You are simply not equipped to receive it. Your visual system is not broken. It is precisely calibrated for the life your ancestors needed to live. But that calibration came at a cost. The cost is that the world you see, the one that feels so complete, so vivid, so obviously real, is a fraction. A carefully edited, species-specific fraction of what is actually there. You have never seen the world. You have seen your version of it. And that version, the one your brain has been showing you every single day of your life, felt completely real, completely whole, completely enough, which means every other creature on Earth is walking around feeling exactly the same way. All of them certain they are seeing reality. None of them seeing the same thing. And somewhere in the ocean right now, a mantis shrimp is looking at the same water you would call blue and seeing something that has never had a name in any human language. We just don't know what. And if this made you realize how much of your reality is being constructed without your knowledge, our last video will hit differently now. We asked what your brain is actually doing every night while you are unconscious. It is on your screen right now. I will see you there.